Hello friend, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cotton and this is Cotton's Creations 42, and today we are going to learn how to make this adorable scrunchie. We are going to do it in the round on circular needles, and I'm going to show you how to do a provisional cast on and then how to do a Kitchener stitch so that you can make it seamlessly. Are you ready? Let's get knitting. Alright, so here I have two scrunchies that I have made. They are super cute, very stretchy. Each one has an elastic band inside of it, and they can very easily hold up a ponytail, and I love them a whole lot. So let's take a look and see what we're going to need to make one. All right, first things first, we need an elastic band to go inside. This is just a hairband from the Dollar Tree, and I have some yarn that is a matching color. I am also going to need two circular needles. These are both size 9s. You're going to need one that's a size 9. If you don't have two that are size 9s, that's okay. Just any other circular needle that is smaller than a size 9 will help you. You're going to need two needles when you're doing the Kitchener stitch because we're going to do a provisional cast on with this, and that creates live stitches on both ends of the tube, and so you can sew them up together. But don't worry, we'll get into that. We're also going to need a crochet hook to do our provisional cast on. We'll need some scissors, a darning needle, and just a little bit of waste yarn. This is the same yarn I've been doing to make all of my sample ones, so I thought I'd just use the same yarn. That way I don't waste any more waste yarn. Ha-ha! All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is our provisional cast on. Now there are lots of different ways, or several different ways to do a provisional cast on that I know. I like to use a crochet hook and my knitting needle because I find that to be the easiest way to do it for me. You might prefer something else. There are plenty of videos out there that can teach you all the different ways to do a provisional cast on. I'm just going to show you this one way because this is the way that I like to do it. So we will take our size 9 needles. We will put a slip stitch onto our crochet hook. We will put the yarn behind our knitting needle like so, and then we're going to pull a loop through that loop on our crochet hook, just like that. And then you're going to put your yarn behind your knitting needle again, pull up another loop, just like so, put your yarn behind your knitting needle, pull up a loop, yarn behind, pull up a loop. We're going to do this until we have 36 stitches, 36 crochet stitches on our knitting needle. And I will meet you back here when I'm all done. All right, so I have reached 36 stitches on my needle, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain a couple of crochet stitches off of the end to lock that in place, and then I'm going to pull the rest of my waste yarn through that tail, pull the tail through the hole there, and now we are ready to start knitting. So I'm going to grab my yarn, and now I know this needle is super long, and I do have a shorter one, and I am going to change over to that shorter one after I do the first couple of rows, but I just wanted to show you that it is totally possible to make something this small on needles this long. You just have to have bunny ears, and I'll show you how to make those in a little bit. But the first thing we're going to do is knit one row. So we are going to just start here at this first stitch. We're going to pretend it's a knit stitch, and we're going to knit it. And I've got a long tail here. I'm just going to put that over that little guy like that and knit that stitch. Let it fall off, just as if I were doing any old knitting. Do another one. So yeah, we're just going to knit this row, and when I reach the end of the row, I will show you how to join it in the round. All right, so I have reached the end of my row, and now I want to join it in the round. And the first thing we need to do then is to make bunny ears. And how we'll do that is we're going to pull up 2 loops on our knitting needle. So we're just going to pick a spot like that, and then I will pick another spot over here. And so now I have a whole bunch of craziness happening, right? but it's okay. It'll all sort itself out. So what we want to do now is get these two ends together and join them in the round to make a nice round scrunchie. All right. So it takes a little finagling, but I believe in you. I think you can do it. I know you can do it. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that all of our stitches are straight. And what I mean by that is all of our waste yarn is on the inside of the circle that we're trying to make, and it looks like it is right now, so that's fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and knit these stitches together. Also put my stitch marker on here, since this will be the start of our rows. So let's go ahead and knit to the end here, and I will show you how to move your bunny ears around your knitting. So when I come up here and I am out of stitches on my left hand needle, the first thing I'm going to want to do is pull this loop like so until the stitches reach that needle. Then I'm going to pull this, the one in my right hand, I'm going to pull all the stitches down, and I'm going to pull up another loop, leaving a few stitches on my left hand or my right hand needle so that my tension is correct. And then we just kind of finagle it all around and go again, like so. Look at that, easy peasy. You just gotta go slow, and you can do pretty much anything, in my opinion, if you take your time and have a little patience and a little faith in yourself. You can do just about anything. All right. I am going to knit this until I get to the other side, and then I will come back and we will have a little chat and make sure that we're not twisted again when we get to the other side. All right, so I have reached the end of the first row there, and I just want to make sure on this first row that I am not twisted again, because this is a place where it can very easily become twisted. And it looks like all of my provisional cast on is on the inside, and that's what we want to see. So fantastic. So now what you're going to do is you are going to knit this for 13 more rows for a total of 15 rows. I guess you would knit it because this is the, yeah, yep, 13 more rows for a total of 15 rows. And then I will meet you back here and we will do our Kitchener stitch and put the whole thing together. See, this thing is going to be so fast. So fast. Almost, it's practically done already, right? All right, I will meet you back here after I have knitted a total of 15 rows. All right, I have made it to 15 rows, and this is what it looks like. Super cute. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to weave in this end because we want this to be woven in before we join everything together so that we don't have to worry about it. And also because I didn't do a slip knot at the end, this is actually our last stitch, so I do need to weave it in before we get going. Let's see, let's go through there. And then I'm going to come down to this one. And then I'm just going to weave it back and forth between these stitches like so. For like an inch or two till I'm satisfied. Make sure it's nice and loose. And then we'll go back this way. Through those same stitches we just did, just the opposite direction. Awesome. All right. Now I can clip this end. One less thing to worry about. All right, and now we are going to undo our provisional cast on, and we are going to pick up all these stitches. So the first thing we're going to do is take this yarn here where my stitch marker is and pull that back through that crochet stitch we did in the very beginning. And then I'm going to gently pull these out until we get to there. And I'm going to pick up this stitch and then I'm going to slip. Oh no, I totally pulled that out, but that's okay. We're going to pick up all of these stitches around like that though. So I'm going to turn it this way. Make it a little bit easier on myself. There we go. And I'm going to pick up all of this next stitch and pull it through like that. I want to pick up my stitches through the front so that they are facing with the right leg in front. It makes it easier to do the Kitchener stitch later, although it doesn't make too much of a difference. But that's just how I do it. So you just put your needle through the green loop and then you pull out the crochet stitch like so. Easy peasy. Now if you're using a long needle like I am, you are going to come to a point where you're going to have to pull up a loop on your knitting needle so that you have more room to maneuver, because things are going to get tight. So you're just going to want to like pull some of the stitches back, pull up a loop, and then continue like so. All right, now let's count and make sure we've got 36, 2, 3, 4, 35. All right, looks like I have 35, and I think that is something that can happen with your provisional cast on. I'm not too worried about it. I don't know the exact science behind it. I know there's some YouTube videos out there that can explain how it works a little bit better. I don't know. Go check it out if you're curious. But yeah, so we have 35 stitches here, and we have 36 stitches here, and that's totally fine. I ain't worried about it, so we're just going to have to knit 2 of them together from the top to the bottom, and yep, we can totally do that. So now what we're going to do is cut a length of our yarn, and we're gonna do it, I want it to be about 3 times around as this is. So I'm just gonna do like 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm gonna cut my yarn there. And then I'm gonna put this end on a darning needle. Okay. And now we are going to add our hairband. But first we need to turn it inside out. And how we're going to do that is just going to make sure that nothing is going to slip off these stitches as I pull them through like that. So now my scrunchie is inside out, which is fantastic. That's how I want it to be. And I am going to add my hairband like so. I'm just going to scrunch all that together. Put my hairband around the middle part like that. There we go. So now I've got my scrunchie inside out and my hairband around the middle, and I've got my long tail that I have on a darning needle. Now what I want to do is line up the 2 ends. So I'm going to slide these needles back a little bit until those 2 line up. And we are going to get started on our Kitchener stitch. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong about that, and I apologize if that's not correct, but that's just what it looks like to me. Kitchener stitch. Okay, Kitchener stitch is how you knit two, or how you sew two pieces of knitting together with live stitches so that it looks invisible. And it seems complicated at first, and it kind of is. There's lots of tutorials out there that can help you if you have trouble, but I'm just going to show you what I know. There's a setup round, and that setup round is you go through, yes, you go through the front as if to purl. So you go to the front of your first stitch, the one that's closest to you, as if you were going to purl it, like so. And then you go through the back loop, the knitting stitch on the back needle, as if you were going to knit it, like so. And that's your setup round. So through the front as if to purl, through the back as if to knit, leave those stitches on the needles. And everything is just so crazy. There's so many things. It's all good though. We got this. All right, so that's the setup round. Now, the regular round is going to go like so. Through the front stitch as if to knit, dropping that stitch off the needle. Okay, then through the next front stitch as if to purl, leaving that stitch on the needle. Like that. Now we're going to move to the back row. Through the front stitch, through the first stitch as if to purl, dropping that stitch off of the needle. We've got to move them up a little bit, like so. Then through the next stitch in the back as if to knit, leaving the stitch on the needle. Let's do that again together. And you want to kind of pull your stitches tight. The reason why a Kitchener stitch might not look correct is going to be because it's too loose. And I'll be honest, I have not done this enough to make my tension look perfect, but good enough is perfect for me. So good enough is good enough. All right, let's do another one together. So we're going to go through the front of the first loop as if to knit, drop it off the needle, like so. Through the next stitch on the front as if to purl, leave it. Then we move to the back. We're going to go through the first stitch as if to purl and drop it off our needle. Then we will go through the back stitch as if to knit and leave it on. I'm doing a little bit faster. So we're going to go in the front, we're going to knit and then purl. Oops. Then through the back, purl and knit. And you're just going to continue this until you get all the way around. And if, like me, you only have 35 stitches on the one side, you're going to do your last 2 stitches on the front together with that last stitch on the back and just call it a happy day. All right, so I'm going to continue doing this Kitchener stitch all the way around, and whoop, I will meet you back here when I have come to the end. So maybe because it's really late in the evening when I'm shooting this, but somehow I ended up with the correct amount of stitches on each one. I don't know. Guess I can't count, or one magically appeared. Who knows? It's working out, yo. All right, so we are at the last 2 stitches. So we are going to do these first ones like normal. Loop. with the knit and then the purl, and then the purl, and then the knit. And then these last ones we're just going to do just how you would imagine. We are going to knit this one and purl that one. And then we are all sewn together. That stitch is really big, but that's all right. So now the conundrum is, look at how pretty that is though, look. My tension has gotten so much better doing these with my Kitchener stitch. This thing almost looks seamless. Ah, delightful. So cool. Takes some practice to get there. Okay, but now the question is how to weave this end in, and I haven't come up with a great solution for that yet, but what I've been doing is just kind of going around these last couple of stitches and tying a little knot, because it's going to be super hard to weave this end in any kind of way that I normally would, because it's all on the inside, right? I don't want to weave it in on the outside, although I suppose that's an option. But then what I do is I just stick it through and make it nice and long and go kind of far away to the other side and pull it through. Make sure, pull that like that. And then I go around one of these bars here and I go back a little ways. Doesn't have to be the same amount. Oop, don't want to pull it tight. I'm just trying to get my end to come out. Where is it? No! It's got, what is going on here? Oh my gosh, y'all, what did I do? I stabbed my own yarn. Okay. Well, we'll just leave it there then. We'll just pull this out a little bit and call that woven in. Ta-da! And there you have it. That is how you make a super cute knitted scrunchie. Heck yes. If you don't like the way that your seam looks on the outside where you've done your Kitchener stitch, you can always turn it into the middle like this, where you just kind of grab the middle and pull the end out. And then that part will be on the inside, and you just have your nice pretty knitted one here. Also, if you wanted something that had like more wrinkles to it, just cast on more stitches. So yeah, thank you for joining me making this adorable scrunchie. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. And yeah, like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, and I will see you guys next week on Friday. Bye!